Greetings, friends, and welcome to Beast Foundry. My name is Christian, and as usual, I will be your guide today. Now, today, we have the second Beast Foundry Ancestry that I'm going to be sharing with all of you. It is the Firbolg. They are a giant kin ancestry, so they are large. They're humanoid. They also have the Firbolg trait, and they are giant. Now, Firbolgs have been around for a long time. They are a second edition. They were in the Humanoid's Handbook, and they kind of dropped off, and then they came back in 5th edition. They were not around in 3rd or 4E. I've always kind of enjoyed the name and the concept of these giant kin, not quite as big as normal giants, but definitely bigger than humans. So as such, this is a large ancestry. Now, of course, one of the things everyone always thinks about, and a large ancestry, how is that balanced? Do I get reach? And the answer is yes, but with a few little caveats. You do not innately have a reach, meaning if you were a fighter, your attack of opportunity doesn't have reach. Instead, you have an ability called Giant Strike. It is a one-action ability, and what it does is you may make a melee strike, an armed strike, and you gain 5 feet of reach when you make this strike. Now, it is its own ability, so it doesn't combine with things like power attack or what have you. But if you were, say, a giant instinct barbarian, and when you raged and were high enough level that you became large, even though you're already large, you would still get that reach, and you could combine that with Giant Strike to spend an action to gain a 15-foot attack. So, I didn't feel this was out of the realms of power. The skeleton dabbles around with this a little bit. At 5th level, they get a feat that kind of gives them some extra reach. The fighter can take this as a 2nd level feat called Lunge. So this is not out of the realms of things that already exist in the game. And you are at a slight disadvantage when you're large. I know I've talked to many people that don't agree with this, but I'm sorry, I have always found it to be true. You cover more area. You're easy for the enemies to attack because you occupy 4 spaces instead of 1, so they don't often have to move as far to attack you, and so it's easier. Also, they can shoot at you without necessarily, having to deal with that lesser cover because they can target that square above, so their attack is not passing through one of their allies if they have that range. And you're easier to flank. You can be surrounded by numerous enemies and be flanked. One person could be on one side and there could be 2 people on the other side, and all of them are flanking you. So they do have disadvantages because of being large, not to mention the world's built for medium creatures or small creatures to really interact well with. So there's going to be a lot of times your character would have to squeeze when they don't necessarily, no one else would. So it does have drawbacks, but I really wanted to play around with a large ancestry, and I had a lot of fun with it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's dive in a little, shall we? So they have low light vision, Giant Strike, which we talked about. Their ability boosts are to Strength and Constitution, and they gain 1 free. Their penalty is to Dexterity. Now, I know that's a super uncommon penalty, but, because we stayed with the physical of getting Strength and Con, I definitely felt it warranted that they would have a Dex penalty. They get a D8 hit points, their move is 25 feet, and of course, as we mentioned, they are large. Now, as always, we have the text here of how they fit into the world, where they come from, their physical description, society, alignment, religion, typical names, and then we get into the heritage. The Earthbound Firbolg, they basically are kind of, the mountain giant-ish type of the giant kin. They gain a 15-foot climb speed. They are used to mountainous terrain, so they can navigate such things with ease. Next, we have the Frostheart Firbolg, basically gaining cold resistance equal to half their level. They also treat environmental cold effects as if they were 1 step less. Incredible becomes extreme, extreme becomes severe, so on and so forth. We have the Fireforged Firbolg. basically the opposite. They have fire resistance, half your level, minimum 1, and they treat heat effects as if they were 1 step less. Then we have the Savage Firbolg. Now, these guys, they take a move penalty, so their movement is reduced to 20 feet. However, they gain a physical resistance of your choice, either bludgeoning, slashing, or piercing, equal to half their level, minimum 1. And then there is the Stormborn Firbolg. They have electrical resistance, and they also ignore concealment due to fog or heavy rain, so they gain a little bit of visual acuity in those situations. So let's run through the feats, shall we? First, we have Fist of Stone. Your fist becomes super hard. You deal 1d6 points of damage with your unarmed attack. It also, has the standard non-lethal trait. Ooh, I like this one. Giant spellcasting. You can deliver a touch spell at reach. So even though you aren't using your giant strike because you can't really combine that with a spell, this feat basically allows you to use touch with reach. So it's another way to sort of capitalize on that. So I didn't want spellcasters to feel like, oh, this is for melee characters. I'm a giant, spellcaster, so I'm left out in the cold. We didn't want Rising Mountain. This is a requirement. You are prone. When you stand up, you may also make a shove attack. So you, with one action, you get to stand up, but you can also shove someone that is next to you so that you can get them away from you. We have rock throwing. You gain basically a boulder attack. You can throw rocks that deal 1d8 bludgeoning damage, and they have the brutal and thrown trait and a range increment of 40 feet. So you get to be, have that giant ability to throw boulders and just nail things. So thought that would be pretty fun. Towering Reach. Your opponents do not gain lesser cover from you when you make attacks through your medium or smaller allies. So basically, because of your great height, even though you may have an ally in front of you, you're attacking over them. So they really aren't granting cover to enemies. And then we also have Watch Your Head. And you're able to squeeze through areas that medium and small creatures can. And when you do that, it's not difficult terrain to you. So you've grown up around medium and smaller creatures, so you are able to sort of move and contort your body to get through these areas with ease. 5th level feats. We have Catch Rock. This is there's a trigger. It is a reaction. Trigger, you are the target of a thrown rock strike, or a rock would fall on you. You gain a +4 circumstance bonus to your AC for the trigger and attack to any defense against the rock, and if the attack misses or you successfully defend against it, you catch the rock and take no damage. Excuse me, you're trained in athletics. You can step over medium creatures and medium or smaller creatures. This basically functions as tumble through, but you get to use your athletics instead of your acrobatics. Giant-sized weapons. You gain +1 bonus to damage whenever you are wielding weapons made for your size. So if you've paid that double the cost because it's a larger weapon, you get to have a giant-sized weapon and you gain a +1 damage bonus with the weapon. Shrug It Off. This is a reaction. You have a resistance to a damage type. So you have to be one of the heritages, or through some other ability, you have any kind of damage resistance. Once per day, when you take damage from a source that you are resistant to, you may increase your resistance by an amount equal to half your level plus your constitution modifier against the triggering attack. So basically, it becomes your level, your constitution modifier for that single attack. And you can do this, as I said, once per day. 9th level, Bowl in a China Shop. As a free action, frequency once per minute. When you succeed in an athletics action, you instead gain a critical success. However, from now on, whenever you fail a stealth check, you instead critically fail. So you are going to, if you fail any stealth check from here on out, you will critically fail. You critically succeed athletics checks. So kind of a fun trade. Ooh, we have Crush the Small Folk. This is actually kind of like a little better than, a shove, but not as good as a whirlwind throw. This is basically. You have a free hand and a target is smaller than you. You make an athletics check against the target. The target's fortitude. On a success, you slam your target into the ground. The target lands prone and takes 1d8 plus your strength modifier damage. On a critical success, the target takes an additional 1d8 and is stunned 1. Regardless of whether the strike is successful, you immediately release your hold on the target. I lied to you. This is not a better whirlwind throw. This is a very similar suplex from the wrestler, but this is just a ancestry feat. Scoop on the run. Make a move action. At any point during this move, you can grab an ally that is smaller than you and move them with you. You must set them down in a square within your reach at the end of this move. So you basically can just grab one of your allies, move, and then set them down. So it allows you to help your friends escape. You'll have to toss me. You can pick up an ally within your reach that is at least one size category smaller than you are. You can then throw them to an unoccupied space within 20 feet of you. Your ally ends this move on their feet and takes no damage from the toss. So very, very similar to the barbarian feat that allows you to do the same thing, except that feat allows you to throw them even further. And lastly, we have our two 13th level feats. Giant stature, your reach increases by 5 feet, so you now permanently have a 10-foot reach, which that is when other ancestries gain the ability to become large and thusly also having a permanent 10-foot reach. So certainly not out of realms of any power level of anything else. And when the walls fell, with focus and strength, you plant your feet into the ground, where those that tried to trip you would have better luck knocking down a wall. Any attempt to trip you is now versus your fortitude defense instead of your reflex. So you get to obviously switch your reflex with your fortitude, which most of the time is probably going to be to your advantage. And if it's not, you wouldn't take the feat. So there you have it. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I really had a lot of fun making this Ancestry, and I really hope all of you guys enjoy playing it. As with everything, this is available on the Beast Foundry Patreon. I also have updated this with the Path Builder files, so you can, if you have the paid version of Path Builder, either on the app or web version, you can download this JSON file and just upload it into your Path Builder, and all of this will be there for you. You can just plug and play this Ancestry. So hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please like and subscribe, leave some comments, play around with this, let me know what you think. Tell me if you enjoyed it. You know what? That's about all I have for you guys this week. So as usual, game well, my friends.